apparently not the default.
No, it's not. Well, no, I don't know. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Old Gray Bricks Messy Monday. And you can tell that I'm running the show because it's not the right music on the intro. I don't understand how other people's brains work when they categorize things and they put labels on things. It says intro with music and everything else says something else. So you figure it's got to be the right one, right?
It felt like the Snyder Cut or something. You had that, like,
it does sound like it's, I kind of feel like we all should be like sliding in with like Avengers gear on or something like that. A very Marvel-esque movie soundtrack going on. I like the old music that he had, but I don't know. I guess it probably wasn't the best idea for me to say, which one is this again? 30 seconds before we went live. I could have probably tried it, figured it out. But anyway, that being said, hello, everyone. Welcome to Messy Monday. Chris is doing vacation Bible school stuff, basically, aka work. Mark is in Tennessee, I think, seeing family. And Matthew's watching Game 7 of some sports thing with a puck. I don't know.
Yeah, the Canadians will probably win anyhow.
Probably. Yeah. But, hey, he likes it. It's cool. It's that really weird crossover where Matthew sometimes appears less gay than I do. So I don't know. We've been rolling with this for a long time and we'll just continue to. So that being said, well, this is going to be kind of wonky because it's going to be actually just because it's the four of us. This is like some of my favorite episodes we've done when there's been only a few of us because the conversation, I don't know, it gets a little more intimate.
Soul searching.
Yeah. We can stare in the void together and come back with something deep or shallow. It depends on where it goes. And of course, I've already noticed that I've left a cat in here. Do you want out? Talk amongst yourselves for a moment.
Meow. Meow.
And then there were three.
Yeah.
Go on.
So Steve was at Brickworld. Wait, did we talk about Brickworld last week?
We did, I think. We did. You were on last week, weren't you?
Yeah, because he was showing off his awards. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm finally, like, I think for the most part, I'm out of the fog. Like I'm feeling good, but I'm leaving Saturday to go down to rodeo for 2 weeks, so that was short-lived.
Now you're going to rodeo for 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's a family trip.
Oh, okay.
It's a trip when your kids are going, so it's a family trip. So we're driving down there, so that's why it's 2 weeks. We're gonna make an event of it. Fun. So yeah.
I was fortunate enough to never have to do those types of road trips as a child. I did them later as a teen with like high school and stuff like that. But I was never forced to go on a forced family fun trek across the country. So props to you for allowing your children to experience that.
It would be bad if we like went somewhere other than hot weather, but Texas in July, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But as Moto is saying, the recovery is real. I can say that actually Brickworld is probably I would say I have done San Diego Comic-Con, Dragon Con many, many times. And I think Brickworld for me is the worst endorphin hangover by far. Out of all the conventions I've ever gone to and participated in, Brickworld seems to be like I need a vacation from Brickworld to get back to the real world.
I only have Brickworld to go off of, and I'm very curious and excited to see what a smaller show like Rodeo's like.
It is, and especially because you're taking like something very specific. Well, I mean, you're basically going to be doing the same display that you did in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
So, although every time I've gone to Chicago, I've taken just as much as I would do at my local shows. So, yeah, I don't know what it would be like to just take one thing and just set it up.
That's all I've got. All my bricks are in the one thing. So.
Yeah, but your one thing is still like 4 base plates, at least, isn't it? Or is it 6?
It's a few base plates.
And we're talking 48 by 48 base plates, not 32 by 32s.
Yeah, it's 30 deep and it's like 6 feet long.
Yeah, so
like the base is smaller, but it goes out.
You're still taking up a pretty sizable footprint in general. So I mean, because I know, like, and then I've seen like a lot of Lego Master contestants. They'll do this where they'll bring like what would fit in a suitcase or what they can carry in a carry-on the plane, and that's what they take with them. And then they just go and they hang out and have fun. And I'm like, that's such a novel idea.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting because I think I was saying last time when I went to Bricks Cascade, just
Yeah.
after COVID, I literally just had a model in my suitcase.
Yeah.
And I flat packed the thing because it was a space hater, so it was easy enough to do. But
Right.
you know, and it was a different thing. Like you can set up into bed an hour, and then you're just like, okay, now what? What do I do now?
Yeah. No, I mean, because I've even thought about what would I take if I was going to go to a show like Brick Slopes or Rodeo or Cascade or something like that. Because, I mean, in theory, I could take my monochrome habitats with me.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would let it sit on my lap on the plane or not. Because, I mean, it
It's
kind
that
of
weirdo with that thing on his lap.
yeah, I mean, especially when you're talking like, a 4 or 5 hour flight and you've got this giant box sitting in your lap. I mean, I could
Drink on top.
Yeah. But I mean, I suppose, theoretically, I could check it.
Yeah.
And the way I've got it all set up, because I'm using those Christmas tree ornament boxes where they've got dividers in them. So everything would be self-contained, that whatever falls apart, it'd be fairly quickly for me to put it back together. So I could still, in theory, take the habitats with me. But otherwise it'd be like, a friendship timber, or maybe like a small stack of 6 cubes for a small habitat, or because even taking like my brick built cat, I could put that in my luggage, but it would probably still require some.
Wouldn't you need a carry-on like a cat?
Oh, I could take a cat carry-on.
The cat's really quiet.
I think, you know what? I actually think that would be so much fun. And especially if I went with somebody else with me who could video me going through security, and getting on the plane, and we could do a whole bit. I mean, I did kind of a bit with Blue Hans when I went to Chicago. I kind of did his little journey through on the way there. I could do the same thing with taking my standing cat through the airport and stuff like that. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
And really, you don't even need clothes. Just bring Lego.
Well, I mean, the reality is, if you're doing a 3-day show, it's a pair of jeans, 3 t-shirts, 3 pairs of underwear, and 3 pairs of socks. That's the minimal you can get away with. I mean, you could theoretically throw that in a backpack, and then everything else goes into the bag. So, actually, that's an idea. That's an actual idea. That would actually be very economic, depending on the show and depending on the build. I know that Meredith and Brian for New Hashima Atlanta are going to get a trailer specifically for it, so that they can have people just leave the stuff in the trailer, ship stuff to them ahead of time if they can't make the show but they want to participate, and then just put it in a trailer. So a pod would be just as equally impressive to do. So I think that's funny. You know what? I just noticed we've got a slew of people in the gallery, and I'm horrible at this unless I say things right off the bat. And I'm going to put my old man glasses on for a second. So who I got Grumpy J, Cosbricks. Oh, and Shirley, you're here. Moto, of course, always. Brett's Builds. Brick Jams. And of course, Mare. Neo Atlanta High Notori. I don't understand that, Meredith, unless there was another comment someplace.
Is that Neo Atlanta is what the new Hashima is called? So I don't know what the Notori part is, but
oh, maybe that's what she's saying. So yes, it's going to be Neo Atlanta, I guess, instead of
New
Hiroshima. I guess so. But then I think of Tori, and isn't the Tori the arch? Because I'm actually going to build a Tori arch for my red mega habitat. So I don't know. Yeah. Trailers have no suspension, but build super strong or get.
Speaking of which, I might be at the point of almost maxing out my trailer with the castle now.
Ooh.
With the keep that I'm building, and because it's getting taller than it originally was planned.
Right.
I think I will basically have filled it up by this build. And I still wanted to add 2 feet on the side. So I'm like, do I need to buy a bigger trailer now?
Well, the nice thing about trailers, though, is
Yeah.
that you can usually trade in your trailer for a decent value and
Yeah.
basically just upgrade your trailer. From
Yeah.
from what I understand.
Yeah,
From what I understand.
that's the theory. But I think I also need to get one with trailer brakes if I go any bigger too. So that'll be fun. But
Which might require you
Well,
to
well,
up your wiring harness or something like
oh,
that.
it's why. Yeah, I don't have the actual brake controller in my car, but I'll just get it for the next one or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Good excuse for you to upgrade your vehicle too, right?
Mine's leased, so yeah, it'll be upgraded anyhow next year. Like
There
I
you
said,
go.
first world Lego problems.
Exactly. So we'll do just a quick spin and then we'll just talk. We'll continue rambling. I've got some stuff I was going to talk about. I can go first if you want.
Sure.
All right. So Saturday we had our lug meeting, which was fun. I don't think I had been to a lug meeting since January. I think is the last time I'd done a lug meeting. So that was cool to be able to go and hang out and talk and see some people I hadn't seen. Connor was there. For you Hashima fans and Brickworld fans. I didn't realize we had a few more people go to Chicago than I didn't know that they went. And there's one guy who I forget his name, and because he's new to the lug, but he went and he actually got one of the staff trophies, very similar to what Meredith got.
Is it
Which
the
was kind of cool.
Brickrific ones?
Yes, the Brickrific ones. He got one of those, which was kind of cool. And then I on Friday I went ahead. I had forgotten that there was a lug challenge. So Friday afternoon, I threw together a little mock with the Blacktron 2 torso from the CMFs and gave him a little hover bike recolor from the city sets and threw it together and took it in and boom. Knocked that out in the afternoon, which was probably good because otherwise there would have been like a whole 4 people that entered anything into the build challenge. It's hard to get people to do builds in the summertime. Everybody's traveling for this, that, and the other, so this and that. But at the same time, I walked into the Lego store to do a small, quick video with Ant Bandit Adam because he's doing this is neat. I don't know if you guys had heard this. He's collecting all the astromech droids from Star Wars, but he's doing them all by trades only. So he's reached out to all the people in the community saying, hey, do you have any of the ones I'm missing? And then he's doing a little video every time he does it where he swaps out. He trades you something and you give him whatever droid it is that you have that he's looking for.
I was thinking about trades like as in jobs.
No. No.
That's a different way of going.
No. So I stopped in, and while I was waiting for him, I went in and Sugarloaf Mills is kind of like it's like the outlet store of Lego. So they've got lots of damaged, indented boxes, and so that was my reason to go ahead and pick up the Friends. Andrea's Modern Mansion for 10% off, which was $20 off, and which is basically like double points. And then I also got regular points for it, and it also qualified me for the GWP that was this weekend, which was the Jules Verne. Yeah, Jules Verne, and then another little trophy box. So I was like, hey. Double GWP, 10% off, and I'm good to go. So I'm excited to build this just in general because ever since I saw it first come out, I was like, oh, this is a really cool build. And then when I saw somebody do it as they swapped out all the color for like just black and white and just like a very, Tony Stark mansion kind of thing. And I was like, oh, now I really, really want that set. And now I have this idea that I think I'm going to Blacktron to it. I think I'm going to do white and black and neon green or lime and some trans neon green for some of it. So I think that's what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to build it first just for fun. And then I can see what I need to do to take things apart and do all through that. And I also Sunday morning went to the Lego store. They did a build and take. I thought it was like a postcard thing. And I thought it was going to be like the pictures they had on the flyer, but it wasn't. And I also thought it was like a make and take where it was like going to be adults and children. Oh no, this was a children's build.
Like
geez.
shoving kids out of the way. Like
And it was basically free build. So it was like a table full of parts, which I'm not a big fan of doing because they never seem like I have in my head, oh, this is what I build, but they don't necessarily have what I need. So I wound up just saying, all right, these white stars, I don't recall seeing them very often. So I'm like, I want a bunch of those. So I'm going to throw those on here. And then I just made a little spaceship and I was like, all right, cool. And then
Did you like get down on your hands and knees and cover up the beard in order to be a kid?
no,
Or is it just like, oh, it's Dana? Yeah, you're good.
Well, no, the funny thing is the store manager told me about the event. I actually had to click on the QR code on my phone to register for the event. And then I was the only adult. Otherwise,
Oh, so adults were allowed, but it was all kids that were.
I really don't know. I don't know. But it was fun. And then which was cool because he was working. And so he and I got to chit chat. And I don't chit chat with him as much anymore because then I'm not the administrator. I don't have a reason to go in as often. And so it was nice to just sit and chit chat with him. And then, since I was standing there, once we were done, I decided to go ahead and pick a brick box with 2x4 bricks because I know I need some blue 2x4 bricks for another build that's coming out. So I was like, all right, I might as well hang out and do this and that and talk to a few people here and there. And yes, Stever, I've got the comm, so it's going to be a bumpy ride. And then my last but not least exciting thing for today in my AFO life this week, I got a box in the mail today that contained this.
I feel like we should know what that is.
You should know what this is because other people have shown that they have gotten these, and I haven't opened it yet because I wasn't sure if I wanted to open it up online here or not. But I just wanted to show that I received it, and I was kind of hoping that the person that sent it to me would be on the stream, and he is in the chat. Thank you, Mr. Moto.
Moto, gotcha. Yeah.
For one of his custom builds. I know that this origami box put together. So I want to take some time to make sure that when I take it apart, I can put the box back together with the because it's just very, very cool. Very, very cool.
What better way to do it than on camera?
No, I don't want I don't want to pull a Moto by trying to open up Moto's box and then dropping it or something like that. So I'm going to leave this till this evening after the stream and open it up, and then I will share the build with everyone later on. But I was very excited. Moto, thank you very, very much. This made my day. This made me feel a little bit better about missing Brickworld because at least I got something very cool if I had been there. So I was very excited. Very excited. Was it slide the ribbon to the side to get it off and then open it like a flower? Oh, so maybe it's not that bad. Maybe. All right. You know what? We'll do it now. Let's open it up. Let's see what we got here. I already read the letter. It's a 1 in 10. So it's a slide. Okay. But first, Velcro on that ribbon would be kind of cool too, though. But slide that off. Open it like a flower. Sorry, you guys can't see this is in my lap for right now.
He loves me. He loves me not. That's how I open up the flower.
Okay. And then we got a little box to
So like you pull the pieces off slowly until okay.
Yep. Put that there.
That's how you should take apart other people's box too. That'd be fun. He's gonna hate me. He's gonna hate me not.
Very funny. Very funny. Slide it open. Ooh. Oh, this is cool. All right. So it's semi together, but I'm not going to show that. I'm just going to break out the instructions. I'm very excited about this. Oh, this is cool. So this is a Moto Baby Bear Battle Bot. I will go full screen for this.
Oh, that is cool.
Moto Baby Bear Battle Bot. I love the fact that it says age is 21 plus.
That is so cool.
That's awesome. And having done instructions, I know that it is taxing and a labor of love to do. And this is really cool. And it's very, very cool. He even signed the inside, which is very nice. Little Moto. And I believe this was a 1 of 10, which is cool.
It's like a rating. Like it only got 1 out
No,
of
no,
10.
no. One. He means he made 10 of them.
I'm
to
kidding.
pass
I'm
them out.
kidding.
He made 10 to pass them out.
Love it.
Although I might actually swap out the baby bear for a space cat. I don't know. We'll see. Because I think they're very similar footprint. Now they might be a slight different footprint, but it does give me a reason to maybe then make a space cat mech to go along with this. I'm excited. I'm going to take this thing apart and build it later on after the show. Thank you very, very much, Moto. I am very excited to be a recipient for this. It is very, very cool. I'm going to mess that box up if I try to do it while we're streaming and talking. But so that was the excitement that I have, and I have another cat who got stranded in here and who wants to get out. So, Steve,
Where are they coming through?
they
How are they getting in?
they sleep under the futon that's in my office. It's a very quiet, calm place. So it's very So all right. So Steve, what you got going on?
Well, speaking of recoloring things, I originally wanted to recolor the sea cow, which is my white whale set. So I wanted to do the friendly sea cow. I originally wanted to get it. I mean, I've wanted to get the set for a long time, but like what made me pull the trigger was I'm going to buy the set, I'm going to build it, have some fun, and then I'm going to take it apart and I'm going to recolor it for Friendship Timber. But that was not the best way to do things because I ended up building it last night or yesterday from like 11 in the morning till like 12:30 at night. And it took me way too long because that thing was super brittle. It was the most stressful thing I've ever done Lego wise. That was the worst experience I've ever had in my life. That was bad. It was like every piece you could hear like micro fractures. And like I did a parts draft at Brickworld and I'm like putting pieces together and like I kind of forgot what actual Lego feels like when it's not like damaged. Like every piece was like there's not that like give that Lego has. It's just it was cracky and yeah, it was not a good thing. It was my fingers still hurt. Like,
it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to do with that. I've also found that while those bricks just are going to happen because of heat is most likely what's caused it over time is heat. But I know that bricks that I've sent through a peroxide sunshine bath, they will sometimes get brittle to the point where you're like, ooh, this is not going to be pleasant if I go to take this apart after putting something together using bricks that have gone through a peroxide bath.
I assembled it and I'm never touching it again. Like I'm never touching it. If I were to take that apart, I would break at least half the set. At least.
Well, and as we were talking before, I have the second UCS Sandcrawler that for 10 years has been sitting on my shelf collecting dust, and I want to take it apart because I want to store it because I need to make some room. But at the same time, though, I just know that there's going to be so many because the entire thing is reddish brown. I mean, it's just going to fall apart.
There were dark brown like corner arches, like the big corner arches. I think they shrunk. Like I could not get them on the. I had to like squish pieces to like get it on. It was terrible. And then like once it like clicked into place, all the pieces would go. Like there was like a little snap. Like they didn't like click like normal Lego pieces. They like snapped and they basically broke. You couldn't see the break, but I could tell every piece broke as I pushed it down.
So at some point you'll walk into the room and you'll see a shipwreck in the corner.
Dude, I was like onto like 10 steps down the road and I had this thing sitting on my desk and I could like hear the thing creaking without even touching it. It was what's the word I'm looking for? It was shifting on its own.
You know what I want? You know what I wonder? If I was to take my Sandcrawler apart and document all the pieces that broke when I take it apart, could I call customer service?
I would just drop it.
And that they would ship me parts because the parts broke.
I mean, if you are taking it apart, I would definitely photograph or video it even because it's like I have a YouTube video of every part that broke. I've got proof that it was on this set.
Right.
Like
because their customer service is typically spot on, fantastic. Usually there's nothing that you could Usually I say this. There's not. I will say I have called them for one thing once that they didn't help me with, but normally they always help you with whatever it is you're dealing with. So it's entirely possible.
I was posting pics on my stories on Instagram, and people are saying, if you call Lego, they can probably get the replacement parts for you. But I'm like, one, I have to wait because there's pieces that I won't be able to get to once I start continuing to build, and second, I'm just gonna make more of a mess. I have to call them again after I get the replacement parts. So I ruin all these parts replacing these parts. Like the cannons, I could not get the cannon to go into the cannon holder.
Yeah.
It was like they were not the same compatible piece.
The cannon holders are extremely tight in general
to begin with,
because I think they have to be because the cannons can move, so they need more friction so they don't pop off.
Yeah,
it's like they shrunk. It was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could just see you though. I've got it on video. Send me the pieces, or I'll post it.
Yeah. I mean, crazy stuff though.
That's all I really got going on in my world. Just that. That's all I can think about. So I'm going to rodeo next week. That's about it.
I'm excited for you because it will be probably a little more calmer show, a little less attendance, hopefully.
Yeah, excited to hang out with some friends that I made in Chicago.
There you go.
I made friends. It was weird.
Did you by chance? I know Bobby was in Chicago, but there was another guy that the store manager told me this weekend that there was another newer AFOL from Atlanta who went to Brick World in Chicago by himself and just to hang out, and said he had a great time, but he hasn't come and hung out with the lug yet. He didn't even. I mean, they gave him a peach lug card. I guess he's just a very baby AFOL to the thing. But I thought it was interesting that he went to Chicago by himself, didn't display, just went to go hang out, and said he had a great time, met a lot of people, which is the way to do it. But so strange. So now I feel like I'm on this quest to seek out and find this guy and bring him into the fold. Show him the ropes, introduce him. So
every time I meet a new builder, or I see a new builder on Instagram, and I find out they're in Peach Lug, I'm like, come on, not another one. You guys got all the good builders in your lug.
We do have a surprising number of decent builders. Daniel, I didn't get the guy. He didn't know the guy's name, which I thought was funny too. But I don't know. I'm gonna reach back out to the store manager again and say, hey, if this cat comes in again, give him my email address, give him my Instagram handle, whatever. Have him reach out to me directly, so I can,
At Brick World last year or the year before, I don't remember which it was, we had a Canadian builder from Toronto, from our area, that came to the show and didn't know that Toronto had a Lego club, Lego group. So by the end of the thing, they had said they'd sign up and stuff. So it was kind of interesting. That same thing, you meet someone in a totally different country in this case, and
it's so. I mean, it's so funny because I remember. I mean, it was 2014, and it took a Lego store employee, aka Matthew, to ask me if I knew about lugs, and I said I knew of them, but I didn't know there was anyone nearby. And but it's more uncommon. It's more common for people to not even be aware of what a lug is, much less realizing that there are people who would want to get together and hang out and talk Lego. And it's so funny. I don't know. It's kind of strange. Daniel, I will make sure you guys get some more Peach Lug cards, because I just was talking to the board members and saying, hey, the Lego stores are asking for more Peach Lug cards. So I will make sure that a stack gets sent down there as well. So, Mr. Sheldon Surly, what you got going in your Lego world?
I'm still kind of living on the ragged edge of not having time, but I did finally take your advice a little bit. I kind of dug into my my mocks I found. I found an N1 Starfighter by a mock creator that goes by the name of Bruxy.
Okay.
So I picked it up and enjoyed, kind of like you said, living vicariously through somebody else's.
Yeah.
Kind of puzzled through a few things, and I guess I realized too that sometimes is that Lego designer software sometimes a bit spotty when it comes to floating bricks. I hit a couple spots where it seemed like parts were floating until I
it could be. I mean, doing the instructions is it in itself its own skill set. It is in its own skill set. There's a slight learning curve to using Studio in general. And then once you realize that you can make instructions, and then you go to make instructions the first time, and you're like, oh, I really should have built this entire model completely different if I was going to build instructions. And
you
so
have to like move parts around into all the different steps, and and in the case you're having, if you moved a part to a step earlier by mistake, then it would float there for
until they got to the next step that actually put everything in place. So that could be the problem.
But I'd chalk it more up to my illiteracy than probably his things. But you did a great job. Other than there was a few steps that had me wondering about my sanity, but we got them in there.
Well, you know what you could do, and I know other people have done this, is go back to the Rebrickable page and post a comment saying, hey, I noticed in your instructions there was some wonkiness on this step and this step, because it's entirely possible that nobody's mentioned it to him, and then he can go ahead and update it and actually re-upload the file with the corrections to it.
That's a good point.
So you can always do that.
It's not for ages 8 and up if I couldn't figure it out, because I am a 7-year-old or 8-year-old intelligence, so it works out good for me.
You never know how that's going to go.
One question, you were talking a little bit about the brick conventions and in that overall atmosphere, especially if you're at the stages where you're actually presenting and building. But at the last one, my first one this year was Brick Fair Virginia. Last year was my first one, and there were a lot of folks talking about they were there for the earlier days, even though they didn't display. And I was wondering how that's thought of by builders, that folks that buy like the whole week-long pass as if they're a builder so they can go to all the events, but they don't actually display or participate. What's the thoughts on that from builders and lugs and things like that? The lurkers, I guess you could say.
I think it's actually it's a baby step. It's a baby step. For me, I first went to my first Brick Fair Alabama just as an attendee for the first time, and even just doing that, it didn't prepare me for when I went to go to be a displayer. That now, granted, I wouldn't say Brick Fair Virginia or Alabama would have been like, I think Chicago is definitely a show worthwhile to go to just to hang out and get the attendee package, but not have anything to display, because there is so much going on. There are panels, there are parts drafts. I mean, it's truly an A-full experience.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people look at bigger shows as a vacation, even if you're not displaying. It's to go hang out with your friends, do Lego stuff, but without actually displaying something.
This
and I
year,
think it's great.
This year there were 1,900 plus registered people at Brick World.
Tomoto's comment in the chat, Dana.
Yeah.
I was going to say, and that doesn't cause any issues from a logistics standpoint for the people actually trying to build, and maybe spaces are reserved.
If everybody brought something, there would be no room in the convention.
Right, because you actually have to, even if you register yourself to go, you still have to turn around and register the amount of space you need.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're not stealing space or anything.
It's separate. It's separate.
That makes me feel a little less guilty, because I saw, like you were saying, all those just really cool sounding events and seeing a few videos from folks that participated in them. I was like, God, I wish I wanted to build something just so I could go, but if I could go,
you just go
myself.
Yeah,
and not,
just go, man. Just
go, man. Go, dude. Just go hang out. Dude.
Man, I'm with the band. Let me in.
The band. Because actually, what's interesting, and because like for example, my experience with Brick Fair Alabama for the first couple of years was, there's stuff to do, but if you don't bring something, there's not enough stuff to do.
Yeah.
So, when I went the first year, I only took so much stuff, and I was able to get everything set up within like about an hour or two. And then there's some stuff to do, but there's not enough. Where subsequent years I would go and I wouldn't have time to do the A-full stuff because I had brought so much stuff to display. But like in Chicago, you could totally not bring something to display and still not have enough time in the day to do everything you want to do.
Oh wow.
Because there's like 3 or 4 sessions going on every day, or
Yeah.
every hour of every day.
Hour,
Yeah.
there's, actually in most hours, there's more than one thing going on. So you have to choose. And sometimes you sometimes want to go to both things and you got to choose which one you're going to do.
Matt was like juggling so much last year at Brick World because he was trying to get all the different things. And he's like, he'd disappear for like 4 hours and we wouldn't see him.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, but at the same time, though, and it's funny because when I would go, there were so many of us Peach Sluggers in Chicago the first year, but a lot of us still hung out together, even though we see each other all the time. Where last year when I was in Chicago, I very rarely hung out with anybody from Peach Slug because I had made friends the year before and I was taking advantage of spending more time with the people who I don't get to see all the time versus the people I see all the time. So there's always that. And I was kind of weaving this to a point because we're trying to get Atlanta BrickCon to be bigger and better, trying to get it, to be a very good regional show to draw people from other places. And we've already done that to a degree. But we as a home team I think it's part of our responsibility to help step up and try and make and encourage there to be other events inside the show. Not just parts drafts, but like panels or conversations and stuff like that. And I know that Nick and Amanda are starting to do that because I'm seeing them do more of those things at some of their other shows. But I really want Atlanta to really be that same feel that Chicago has, of that you're coming to Atlanta because you're wanting to come and hang out with your AFOL friends, not so much that you feel like you need to display something huge and big. If you want to do both, that's even better. But I think the AFOL event experience that you're asking about is completely justified and completely open. And I think most AFOLs would be like, oh yeah, as a matter of fact, I plan next year to only bring a small little mock just so I can come and hang out, as opposed to doing some big monster thing. And actually, I think the next time I do go to Chicago, or if I do get to Slopes or Rodeo, I will take just one thing and, plop it down on my table and then go hang out, do some fun stuff. So quick shout out to Rich. He's also in the chat. He's also been commenting and agreeing with the comments we're talking about. So yes, go to a show, get the attendee badge, hang out for the whole weekend. You don't even have to stay I know people who, Bobby, he went to Brick World. He flew home Saturday morning. He didn't even stay for public day.
He was just there for the exhibitor days, and then
he was just there for the exhibitor days.
You even get the people that display mocks but aren't there for public days. Like they just walk away from their mock.
Yep.
Because they're not into crowds.
Yeah.
They're rating their mocks to show off to us, the AFOLs.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it's there for the public to see as well. But they don't want to do the one-on-one talking with everybody, answering the same 20 questions continuously over and over again.
Well, some people will actually put frequently asked question banners up, so they don't have to answer the question.
That's just lazy. Just lazy.
Well, but the funny thing is I put those up for my my habitats because I would often get the same questions over and over again, and even with that little sign there that answers those questions, I still got the question. So, but at least then it would be there for when I wasn't at my table.
Yeah.
But
I purposely have a portion of my castle built so I can easily pull things off.
So you can.
And that happens to be where I sit. So because I always get the questions of, is this one big castle, right? So I literally have a tower that isn't attached to anything. I just slide it off, pull some walls off, I pull some buildings out, and everybody sees it and they're like, oh, thanks. Like they really appreciate it for sure because they see what goes into it, right? Like and how it's built and stuff. And
well, that's part of the fun. I have a black light when I show my habitats just so I can pop the glow in the dark one up, and that always causes some fun stuff. And now that I'll have the coral and the neon with it as well, those will also, if it's not too bright in there, it'll still show from the black light. It'll be kind of fun. But if I'm not mistaken, and I'm sure Rich could probably validate this, and I think he was even saying that for Brick Fair Virginia, he's doing a Tuesday night for Hangout, which is kind of cool. So the night before, even Chicago people were coming in Tuesday night. There's like beer draft what Simon does on Tuesday night, which is before the show even opens. But from what I understand, that the early brick shows, I want to say Brickfest, which was what Brick Fair was a long time ago. It was Brickfest, not to be confused with Brickfest Live, because they stole the name. But
well, they did technically, I think, agree to buy the name or whatever. There was some agreement. They were given
something happened. Is that they started to make, I mean, it was originally just for people to come to get together to build and hang out. And then someone said, hey, you know, we could open this to the public, and that Saturday was the public day. And then Sunday wasn't public day.
It was awesome.
And they still could just hang out and break down at their leisure, and awards and AFOL shenanigans and stuff like that. So, you know, the funny thing is that exactly what you're asking about, that's exactly what it was to begin with, is that it wasn't about showing it to the public. It was about coming and hanging out with your friends.
But then they're like, we could make money off of this.
It was, well, I mean, part of it was also, it was held at a university that Christina Hitchcock, the founder of Brickfest, sorry. She worked as administrator in the university. Yeah. So they just let her use the university and all the classrooms and like the halls and everything. Like we basically had the university to ourselves for that weekend, because it was during the summer and no one was there. So there wasn't really much in the way of costs for her. So she didn't have to have public coming in.
Right.
But they started to outgrow it as well over the years. So, I mean, we did have public come in as well. And that was just a way to get more money, more
to fund it, to get it going, to get it rocking and rolling. So, but yeah.
And I mean, we've always had thoughts, like a lot of the AFOLs have had thoughts of being able to just do a show and never have public there.
Yeah.
That would be the awesome idea, right? That you would never have to
interact with people.
Want to, you didn't, it wouldn't be a non-public show. It was just, you go there, you show your stuff, and you know, it's just a hangout. There's also the shows that like Brickfest, which was one we did in Toronto for many years. The theory always was, if the show was successful, at the end of the show, if there was money left over, like if there was money after paying for the whole show, the money would be given back to all the attendees in the way of, you paid $60 to come, here's $40 back or something like that. Thank you for coming, just as a thank you or whatever, right? Unfortunately, shows don't usually go that way. I mean, maybe Brickworld does, but
it's funny because we kind of touched about this a little bit last week, where, you know, some local shows have dried up, and because, you know, COVID killed so many things, you know, for attendance wise, and some things survived and some things didn't. But now we've got these people who are basically making a business out of doing Lego conventions. So it's a love-hate relationship, because if it weren't for some of those shows, there wouldn't be a Lego show in certain areas. Yeah. So it's a toss-up. But I mean, because it's funny, we here in Atlanta, we talked about the Lug starting its own local show, and it just so happened to be that one of our members decided, nope, my wife and I are going to do it instead. And we're like, okay, cool. That way we don't have to do it.
Yeah.
We can come and set up and we can participate. And they have always made it very, very easy for the Lug to participate and give. And, you know, we get a large discount for coming in, and, you know, they take, you know, preferential treatment towards the Lug because it's our home show. So it's just cool. So hopefully maybe that'll happen for some of the other areas as they get their Lugs to participate, stuff like that. So time will tell. Mr. Van Winden, I know that you are patiently waiting to show us something. This is in conjunction with Mr. Steve asking some questions.
Well, it was just also what I was working on this past week. But,
okay, well, here we will add to
Jason, did you have a question? You're about to say
no. I was just listening intently.
Hopefully my washing machine is going to start sitting in a couple minutes, so hopefully you guys don't hear that. But so I've been working on rebuilding my castle keep, because again, it was a piece of crap the first time around, fell apart all the time. And there's my dryer, so hopefully you don't hear it. But I was working on in studio, trying to figure out what parts I needed. This is now version 3.0 of my keep towers that will go above the keep that's already music. What was that?
Yeah, you've got your own band.
I can't mute it. Sorry.
How long does that go off?
Oh, like a minute. It's horrible. Oh no, it's done. All right, it's done. horrible. I don't understand why. Like, you can turn it off, but then you don't know it's done. So
Yeah.
speaking of which, as soon as I'm done talking, I got to go switch my laundry. Anyway, but yeah, so I've been working on this keep, and this is the current version. I think this is the final version. I have to now order more parts because I've added more color in the top, but just the idea of a nice towers, or the base towers. Obviously, nothing's in the inside yet. I still have to fill it all in, but with a nice spiral arrangement still going up top. And then I took the liberty of rendering it on Studio as well, which you can do, and it actually kind of came out pretty nice. It's I would say it's almost realistic looking.
It is.
Which is kind of scary.
It is.
And this isn't even AI render. This is just
Yeah.
this is Studio rendering. But yeah, so that's what I've been working on, trying to build the first part of my keep, and then realizing that it was a little boring, a little plain. So going to a new version of it type thing, trying to make it interesting and taller than Rich's castle.
I like the different levels.
Yeah.
So-
That was what I was going for. Yeah, Data.
I want to warn you about something. This
Is Rich building taller?
No. This
Okay.
actually this is a PSA announcement in general.
Yeah.
Because for my mega habitats, the next one I'm working on is black, and
Okay.
and in Studio I've been dragging my feet on doing it because just working with black just makes it kills my eyes. It makes me tired. I actually wound up having to convert everything to dark or to light gray to build it, just so that my brain can wrap my eyes around it, because it was just everything getting lost in there. But I was ready to finally go ahead. All right, I can go ahead and order my parts that I need, because I was able to pull my inventory and find that what I need. And the funny thing is that everything I needed was 90, or I would say 80, no, 90, about 90% of what I needed was bestsellers on Pick-a-Brick.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you know what? This is a no-brainer. I'm not even going to worry about trying, I even looked up like the large quantity pieces I needed, and still Bricklink was more expensive for the quantity I needed. I would have had to order from multiple sellers, or it was higher price than what Pick-a-Brick was. So I was like, all right, free shipping, VIP points. Let's go ahead and rock this in. I can add in one of my gift with purchases, or insider point purchases, and have them send that to me. I got the box in, and I needed 232 1x4 black bricks.
Yeah.
I got 232 1x4 dark
Great.
blue bricks.
Oh.
I got some tiles that I wanted in black that I got in dark blue, and some 1x1.
How'd you manage that?
So Pick-a-Brick online, they've changed the images to 3D rendered images that look like they come from Studio, and dark blue looks really, really black.
So with Studio, I pull the model inventory, because you can pull, like, you can just download the inventory into like a CSV file.
Yeah.
And I will take, if you take the column of all the Lego part numbers, like the actual 6 digits, you can just copy and paste that directly into Studio, or into.
I was pasting in I was typing in the design ID.
Yeah, the design. Yeah, versus
the element ID.
Yeah.
And that would have probably made my life a lot easier.
Yeah, I figured. I realized as soon as, like, it's just space separated in Bricklink, or in the Lego Shop at Home site. You know, the bricks and pieces.
Well,
so
then
literally, if you copy a row of data, you can just paste it in, and it works beautifully.
Yeah. I mean, luckily it was all bestsellers.
Yeah.
So I found out the mistake within 7 days, and I turned around and reordered the pieces I needed and double checked them in black. But this is one of the things I called customer service to see if there was something they could do, because I know some other people have had this mistake with them, but it was my mistake, not their mistake. So they couldn't really do anything for me. And you can't return Pick-a-Brick.
No.
I didn't realize that until today, or then. Yeah.
I did it likewise like you. Most of the parts I ordered that I needed to order were bestsellers, but all the yellow and blue brackets I need for the tower keep, or for the tower, those yellow and blue sections.
Yep.
All the brackets are the bestsellers, or are the standard order. So I have to wait 30 days for those. And I ordered all the parts based on Keep version 2, and now Keep version 3 is totally different. So I've got my bricks and pieces order came in today, and I have a feeling maybe a third of this will not be needed.
Yep.
But that happens.
Yeah.
I also picked up, just for the fun of it, the dark gray base plates, which are absolutely beautiful. And I think we've talked about that before. Like the base plates in the corners
Yep.
now have that funky
That
design
funky
on it.
little pattern there to
Yeah.
help keep them sturdier instead of cracking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's just for extra strength, extra support.
Yeah.
I
But,
thought Lego was phasing base plates out. No,
No,
no.
that-
not that I'm aware
I
of.
mean,
Information.
they did when they were repackaging them. They phased out like the green one to bring out a new green one in a paper packaging
Right.
and stuff like that. So
Yeah, there was that. There was that.
Yeah.
Speaking of packaging, I got the Tuxedo Cat, and everybody online's been all raving the fact that you can
so-
open the box like a clamshell and flatten it down, and
Yeah.
mine was a standard box.
really,
Ugh.
maybe that was only the European versions. Maybe they're test marking it in Europe, and it's just the people that got them from the influencers.
No, because some of the people were influencers. Well, again, this could be because they shipped the influencers
From Europe.
the
Right.
newer sets. But yeah.
So it could
but-
be just something they're trying out.
Yeah. And
Were they paper bags?
no.
Oh,
The-
see, 'cause a lot of them were paper bags in the stuff that the influencers got
Yeah.
too.
Yep. The only thing I have ever yet to open up that has been paper bags was the dinosaurs in the Velociraptors in some of the Jurassic Park sets. Other than that, I've not gotten any sets with paper bags in it yet.
Never
Um,
done it.
I'm laughing at something on the chat because Daniel mentioned about if Lego would start calling things the color that that is more common versus what the Danish, and then sometimes I yell at my browser, Lego, stop being so Danish, which is exactly why the color names are weird. I didn't realize this till not that long ago. There is no word for pink in Danish, and that's why it's very light purple, because there's
I
a
did
Danish
not
word
know
for
that.
that. So the reason that so many weird color names is because they're calling it what they want to call it in Danish, and then it's translated, and that's where it's getting mucked up.
Are they going to take the IKEA approach and just make up words that sound Danish for the colors?
No, the
Blue.
reality is all those things are actual really words, and it's just that we don't get it because we're not Danish, or we're not,
Although the fact that tan is like brick yellow, that one still gets me. It's like,
yeah.
does tan not exist? Or
There's
sand?
so many of them that are weird, like Earth Blue. It's like, I want to know. I need to figure out what the Danish translation for that is, and that's what dark blue is. And it's so funny, so funny. But anyway, PSA announcement: don't just click on the brick that looks like it's the color you want for Pick a Brick.
Mhm.
Actually, make sure you check the description on it, because the black looks. And at one screen, I went and I clicked on it, and I'm like, okay, this must be the black. And I clicked on it. Oh nope, that's actually dark gray or dark bluish gray. So even that. And of course, they never, if you select an element or a design ID, they're never in the same order. Whenever the colors come in, there's no rhyme. At least I haven't seen a rhyme or reason. I would assume that maybe they come in by color ID, but that doesn't make any sense because sometimes I click on a part and black is like the first piece. And then sometimes I click on a part and black is like the 20th piece. So yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to it.
It's so Danish.
It's so Danish, and that's why we love it. Because
You can make a
it's so
shirt. You're so Danish, and because you're Dana.
Well, and the funny thing is that Dana translates in some languages to mean Great Dane,
But-
not the dog, but being a Great Danish person. So
for the shirt, it should be "You're so Dane -ish" or Dana-ish.
Dana-ish, but that's just
Dana-ish.
that just adds some other weird connotations that I'm not sure I'm going to be happy with. So. I know my friends, and I know what not to do around my friends, and that would probably be something to not do around my friends. So that being that, so, but there was something else. No, that was it. Maybe that was it. No, that was it. I don't know.
Was there any new sets that dropped? There was something announced last Thursday, just after.
The Bumblebee.
Was the
Oh,
Bumblebee?
the Bumblebee. The Bumblebee will coming out.
That was the one that was dropped last week.
Yeah.
Okay.
To go along with Optimus Prime. I think that's really the only new leaked or not leaked, but new announced set. No, the Black Millennium Falcon, which we already knew was coming, but now we got official images on that. Which I have so many Millennium Falcons. I have so many versions of the Millennium Falcon. I really only would want that set for the minifigures.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe we could do a whole show on this. I've completely been scaling back on the number of sets. Ignore the set here. I've been scaling back on the number of sets I've been buying.
I don't believe you.
And I've been doing more part orders because I've been building more things that aren't sets. So, and I'm also realizing that I need to go through my basement. I mean, I've been taking tons of sets apart. I've been breaking dark green and dark red and reddish brown pieces as I take official Lego sets apart to break them down with the intention of possibly selling them or at least just storing them because it's just taking up too much space. But my wife she made the comment and I agreed with her. Do we have enough Lego? Maybe.
But if something like a Bumblebee comes out or something.
Well, and that's what just like the Ornithopter.
Yeah.
I really wanted to get that. And I really think the pieces in it and the set and the figures look great and the set looks great. And I'm like,
I don't have Optimus, but I'm thinking I might have to get those because I gotta show you this. Check this out. This is one of my childhood toys.
And you know they're gonna have Decepticons soon.
This has got to be the next one that they make. It's gotta be Soundwave.
I want it to be Soundwave.
And I've got this guy too.
I was surprised that they took this long to bring out Bumblebee.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when you think of Transformers, it's Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, and then Megatron and Starscream. Those are like the four main characters I always think of when I think of Transformers. So I would think that, you know, maybe Soundwave would be cool to see next, but I think a Starscream would be really kind of cool as well.
Yeah.
So, and it's a plane, and we know Lego loves to do planes.
Mm-hmm.
So time will tell.
Yeah. I don't know. It can't be Megatron. They won't do the gun. I'm pretty sure.
Right. I mean, I know that they are stretching the limits on what they will and won't do.
Yeah.
But that one really just seems like that they can't.
Yeah. He did have another transforming.
He did. There are other
like
variations
a right?
of him, like him as a tank, which they could do. They could do.
Would they do tanks though? I don't know.
They've done some tank-ish type things.
They won't do a plane. Like they won't do that one. Remember that Technic plane
that was military.
Yeah,
it's too bad. I really wanted that one.
What if it's like a candy themed Candyland type tank? Like I'm just kidding. Like what?
Well, no,
how could you spin a tank to not be
a tank?
War?
Yeah,
the Friends all-terrain armored personnel carrier.
The fact that we have Star Wars ships that have laser guns and this and that, okay, it's mythical, but we have cannons in.
There's a tank.
You know,
yeah,
so
they call them tanks. They call them gunships.
Got cannons on it.
Yeah, so
destroyers, star destroyers. I mean,
it's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope.
We won't even talk about the Death Star.
Exactly. Exactly. But do they call it the Death Star?
Yeah, they do.
Okay, because I know it's Boba Fett's ship because we can't call it Slave One anymore. So
well, yeah, but
yeah.
What would they call it if it wasn't the Death Star? Oh my god, a lot of people are going to unlive Death Star?
Imperial Space Station.
Just a moon, really. It's just a moon.
Operational space station.
Laser sphere.
Lasers.
Asteroid field maker.
Minifig collector wanting to know why I got this set. While I do like the fact there are trans yellow pieces in there, I just want it because it's cool looking, and I'm going to recolor it. So it's going to get a makeover. It's going to get a makeover. Probably Blacktron 2 because I know that I can get a bunch of these trans green as well.
Trans
Ooh,
orange.
could
And
do,
yeah, trans green. I've got them
Yeah.
too.
could do the trans green. I didn't realize that they came in trans orange as well. I could do.
Yeah, they're in that set.
Are-
Trans
oh,
orange, trans pink, trans yellow.
Okay. So, I
the
could
trans,
do an Ice Planet version if I wanted
Yeah.
to.
the trans yellow we already got in our lug bulk, which is coming in finally.
Yeah.
But I want to grab some orange and green as well.
Because at the same time, though, I could bricklink the trans yellow ones and turn it into a classic space version as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I need to farm the. Maybe I need to turn this into a group project for a display. A bunch of people who do recolors of Andrea's Mansion.
And do the,
Face
the-
factions.
Yeah, different space factions. Yeah.
just
Pretty
do
cool.
like mansion row, or I don't know. What
Yeah.
you
Well, I
call
mean, I actually want to do something like this for Atlanta BrickCon.
it. Mhm.
Because I was very jealous of the Wallies that they did in the UK, and then there was also the AT-ATs that people did. I was thinking that Atlanta should do like the $100 R2D2, and everybody recolor it and do their own spin on it or whatever it's going to be.
Like the Lego R2D2 and that new one of the new Star Wars sets. Did you see the R2 that came? One of the new Star Wars sets, the uglies, the TIE Fighter and
yeah.
mashup. There's
Yeah.
an R2. I think that one had an R2D2 that was red, yellow, and
Yeah,
White
it's
or something like that.
L3GO. Yeah,
logo
L3GO.
colors.
Yeah.
Oh
No,
yeah,
there's
yeah, L3GO, right?
Yeah, but I'm talking about taking the $100 R2 and
Okay, yeah.
recoloring it, and making an Mtron version. And I would totally do an Exonite version of R2D2.
That's
Um,
kind of cool. I like that idea.
and I would love to see somebody do a Friends version of R2. Just all sorts of. I mean, like people did with the Wally and people did with the AT-AT. I think it would be really cool to do for Atlanta. So maybe we get 6 months. Maybe I can get people to get on the board with it and make it a thing. So time will tell.
I'm looking up where the trans green garage door came from. I forget which set it was.
Yeah, I thought it was in here, but it's not. So
No, it's not. It was in a different one, but I forget which one it was.
maybe a Monkey Kid set or something.
Quite possible. I'm almost there. I'm just pulling up the info.
I'm stalling for
Bright
you
green.
because otherwise I was going to land.
It's Ninjago City Market.
Oh, okay.
They use them for railings along the walkways.
There we go.
So,
There we go. Okay, that makes sense. And means that pieces are, unless people were buying that set to part out for pieces, those probably are not very common, are they?
Yeah, there's only about 2 or 3 of them in each. It
Yeah.
looks like there's only about 2 or 3 of them in the set.
Yeah. So which means those, unless they've got them available on Pick a Brick or Lug
Yeah.
Bulb.
Yeah, and I mean, you were saying with the recolor of that set. I mean, it might be easier just to order the parts on Bricks and Pieces as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just in general, if you don't have all of them, but
Well, my thought, because I actually really want to talk about this earlier with Steve. I know that I could probably have just built this digitally to create the parts list and just recolored it and only ordered the parts that I needed, and it probably would be cheaper. I don't know. It could be, but at least this way, I got the set because I wanted the set just in general for the original version of it, so I've got it. So that way, if I decide that I want to mod this, want to recolor it, and then maybe down the road I say, all right, you know what, screw it, I'm going to go ahead and just build a whole brand new one from scratch, and then just leave this as the original set. Time will tell. But
I did the Bricklink Designer Program, the modular construction site one, because I didn't want to spend the $400+ whatever it was for that set.
Right.
I did using most of my collection and then just ordering the parts, and it cost me like $100.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have a good size collection, so I had a lot of the basic bits, but
exactly.
It ended up being a pretty decent, price when you do it that way.
Yeah. And because my other thought is that I think I almost want to do, because I know this is going to be open on the backside, and I actually want to make it a full walk around. So even still, it's probably best to have this and then Bricklink and add the parts to it to make it the full way around. So
there's 5 of those in the garage. The garage door pieces in trans green. There's 5 of them in that set. So
okay,
it is pretty.
Do they add the Bricklink? Does the Bricklink sets the instructions for it on?
Yeah, they're just downloadable. You don't actually get instructions with the set. You just download the instructions.
Gotcha.
So it's a PDF, and like that's all we ended up doing was just we didn't even
don't
download the instructions. We just opened them up on Lego's website. And
I didn't realize that you could do that for
Yeah.
for that particular program.
the bonus thing with that program is all the parts are on Bricks and Pieces because you have to use their palette.
Correct.
So unless there's a sticker, that's the only thing you can't necessarily get. And I don't think there were stickers in that particular set. But
Yeah,
I know they do stickers for some of them. And I said,
Yeah.
do. I realize that.
do.
But
All right. Well, I've got critters to feed. I got to get up early tomorrow morning, take one of my home in-house critters to the vet because he's getting his teeth cleaned and probably getting some pulled, which I feel bad for him already. But that being said, we're going to bring this to a close. Any parting words from anyone?
go to conventions. Even
Go
if
to
you don't
conventions.
have stuff to bring, go to them.
Yes.
Check them out.
Just
Just
hang
on
out.
Brickfest Live.
I've seen the
Actually,
light.
Fall Equinox, Autumn, she came to Brickworld, and I don't think she brought anything to display the first time she came. So that was definitely a destination go to hang out. Another person who has enjoyed the con without actually displaying. So
Yeah.
make it a thing. Make it a thing. But other than that, be good to your neighbor, build something awesome, and we'll catch you next time. Ta-ta for now. Good night, everybody.
See ya.
And then I got to do the button.
Yeah, you gotta do the
I got to do